Right now, there's an AI tool that can build you a custom app, run a deep product market fit analysis on your business, generate detailed market research reports, and handle your lead outreach all without hiring a single developer. Most businesses either have no idea it exists or they have no idea how to use it. I've been using AI coding agents to run my business operations daily for months. And after testing dozens of use cases, I've narrowed it down to the 8 that deliver the most value for any business. I'm going to walk you through all of them, from building custom tools with zero coding background to using job postings as a real-time signal for outbound, to connecting multiple AI agents into one system that basically runs your operations for you. By the end, you'll know exactly which of these to set up first and how to actually do it. Let me show you the first use case that's going to change the way your business operates forever. Because here's what most people don't realize about Claude Code. You can sit down with no coding background and build a working piece of software in an afternoon. And I'm doing it right now. The tool you're looking at is something I'm building called the Agent Prompter. What it does is take a script like the one I'm reading from for this video and turn it into a series of questions that I answer on my iPad. So instead of reading off a teleprompter and sounding scripted, I'm having an interactive conversation with you, and it gives me a bullet point list of all the things I need to cover, the data I need to mention, but it's like I'm just talking to a friend. I built this in Claude Code, but I'm not actually even a software engineer, and the way I did it was I told Claude Code what I wanted, it asked me clarifying questions, it built it, I tested it, I told it what to fix, and it was fixed. And that loop is the entire skill. That's the first thing that you really need to understand about Claude Code, is it's not just for engineers. It's a tool that anybody can use. From an idea for a piece of software that they wish existed to reality, you can get it done in just about a day if you want to. And if you can describe what it is that you want in plain English, you can build it. But building tools is just one example of what this thing can actually do. The use case I lean on the most isn't building software, but it's for research. There's this open source skill that's called the last 30 days skill. And I didn't build it. It was built by somebody else in the community that went viral on the All In podcast, but I use it almost every single day. And it's one of the most useful things that I've installed on my computer. What it does is scrape X, Reddit, YouTube, TikTok, and the broader web for everything that's been said about whatever it is that you're researching in the last 30 days. So instead of opening 15 different tabs and trying to manually piece all of this stuff together, what people are saying about something, you give Claude Code your question, it goes out and it finds the conversations for you. And I've done a real example here that you can take a look at. It's a few weeks ago. I needed to figure out the best way people were using Claude Code for lead gen. And so I gave Claude Code a link to my company's website and my repo, and I told it, find me how people are doing lead gen with Claude Code. It scraped the web, ranked the patterns, and came back with a recommendation that ended up shaping the entire workflow you're going to see in this use case. Here's the thing about research with AI. The default agent will hallucinate, so it'll sometimes get things pretty wrong. And the way I run anything, it has to be accurate. And I have this one agent do the research, then I have a second agent critique the work, cite their sources, and challenge the assumptions. I run this loop like 2 or 3 times anytime I'm doing anything with Claude, especially if it's research-based or making a presentation or even doing things like code audits. And the output is actually pretty trustworthy. The adversarial loop is the difference between AI research and using AI that's useful and AI research that gets you into trouble potentially when you get things wrong. So now you've got a research agent that pulls together a real picture of what's happening. Next question is, how do you turn that into something your team can actually use? That's where use case number 3 comes in. This is one I use constantly. There's a skill in my Claude Code setup called brand skill. My colleague Pontus is the one that built this, and what it does is take output from research, analysis, internal documents, and turn it into fully branded reports with my company's color, logo, typography. And it's the kind of document that you would normally pay a designer like thousands of dollars to build a deck. The reports on screen is one I generated a couple weeks back. It's a head-to-head comparison between Interchange, my agent platform, our open source agentic operating system, and OpenCloud, which is another agent platform that a lot of teams are evaluating. And I asked Claude Code Code to do a comparison, and it pulled out technical details from both code bases, and then it ran it through the brand skill and produced this. What used to take me an entire afternoon or even days finding a template, formatting, exporting, fixing the slides, now takes me about 10 minutes. And it looks better than what I would have built by hand, if I'm honest. This is how you take what Claude Code knows and put it in a format your team, your investors, your customers will actually read. That's the polished version, but most of what I use Claude Code for isn't a 30-page report. It's like the small stuff, the daily communication. So here's use case number 4, distilling technical information into communications you can actually send. I deal with a lot of technical detail every day, architecture decisions, product specs, customer feedback, code level changes, and the constant question is, how do I take this and write a 1-paragraph update for someone who doesn't live inside of this stuff? And so what I do is I open up Claude Code, point it at the relevant file or folder, and say, draft me an email to this person with this context at this technical level. It reads the actual underlying material, not just the summary of it, and it writes the email. And this sounds small, but it's actually a pretty massive time saver and game changer for me because I'm the CEO of this company, but I'm not an engineer. And the reason it's not so small is because the thing it reads is actually the source of truth. So the email isn't generic AI copy, it's grounded in what's actually going on. And I always use the loop we talked about before, where they have like an adversarial agent review it to make sure it's accurate. And that's the difference between AI that wastes your time and AI that gives you back 2 hours every day. So at this point, you've got tools for research reports, communication, and the next layer is actually operations. The parts of your business that aren't about you, they're about your team. So here's use case number 5. Every interview I run, I record in Granola, my note taker app. The transcript and note, I drop it into Google Drive folder, 1 folder per candidate, and they also flow into ADIO, my CRM. So the whole interview process becomes a structured archive. And here's where Claude Code comes in. It's pretty cool. I follow a hiring framework called the Who process. It's a methodology built around asking the right questions to find A players. And instead of me having to remember every detail and manually score every single candidate, I just point Claude Code at the candidates folder and I ask it, where am I in the Who process with this person? What signals am I getting? What should the next interview focus on? And it reads the actual interview notes, applies the framework, and tells me where the candidate sits. Catches things that I would miss. The AI is totally objective, whereas I'm more like a Labrador. I like everybody. And it tells me what I need to push on in the context of the conversation. It's genuinely faster and better than how I used to do this. Now, what I want you to notice here is the pattern. The pattern is not AI replacing hiring. The pattern is your data lives in a place. Granola, Drive, ADIO, and Claude Code is the layer that reads across all of it and does the analysis you'd otherwise be doing in your head. And it's something that your team gets to share across the entire company. So once you see this pattern with hiring, you can apply it to almost anything. And the most valuable thing you can apply to is the data nobody's actually mining, which is your customer conversations. This is the one that has had the biggest impact on my business. Here's what I do. Granola records every customer call. The transcripts pull into ADIO, my CRM, via the Granola MCP. And on my computer, I have a folder with my product specification and my roadmap. And what I've actually built versus what's still on the plan. And then I asked Claude, pull every single customer conversation from the last 30, 60, 90 days and cross-reference it with what we've actually built and what's actually coming down the pipeline in our product roadmap. And tell me, where am I on the journey to product market fit? This is probably the most important thing for any founder. You need to know if you're building the right thing. So tell me what features customers keep asking for that I haven't built yet. Tell me which features I've shipped that nobody mentions. Tell me what I can do to accelerate. What comes back is not a generic summary. It's a real strategic document with feature gaps ranked by how often customers raise them, and accelerates priorities ranked by which ones unlock the most pipeline. Themes I would have missed because I'm just too close to the product. And this is where the adversarial route matters a lot. On something this strategic, I don't trust a single agent. I have a project management agent that does the analysis and then a critique agent that goes back through and cites customer transcripts line by line, challenges every single conclusion, and fixes anything that's stretching. By the third loop, what I'm reading is grounded, not hallucinated. Now I want to pause on something here because this is the part that most people get wrong about running AI agents in a real business and using real business data. A couple weeks ago, there was a small SaaS business and the founder posted about it on X, where one of the AI agents deleted an entire production database, all their customer data, and when the founder asked the agent what it had done, the agent told them, or it told them what it thought it had done. There was not actually any audit log. There was no way for it to verify or share the actual actions it took and no record of what the agent had actually executed. They had to take an AI's word for what an AI had done to their business. That's the fear when you start running agents on real data, real customers, real revenue. Most agent setups don't give you the answer to what did this thing actually do. They give you the agent's best guess about what it did. So the way I run my multi-agent systems at our company using Interchange is that anything that touches real data is on top of a layer that gives every agent a cryptographic identity, and every action has to be signed into an audit log, and every tool call has a permission check. That's what we built with Interchange. It's a multi-tenancy agent-to-agent communication as a protocol, every inference turned, signed, and replayable. It's also model agnostic, so you're not locked into any single AI provider. You don't need this on day one, but the moment your agents are touching customer data, money, or anything that you can't recover from, you need to know what your agents actually did, not what they think they did. The next layer is the front of the funnel, content. Use case number 7 is content repurposing. I built a tool called PodPilot. What it does is take a YouTube URL, like this video right here, and turn it into a blog post, a set of social media posts, and a list of clips, with the actual quotes pulled from the episode ready to be cut. I run this every single time I publish. One YouTube video becomes a blog post on the website, a thread on X, a LinkedIn post, 3 or 4 short form clips, and all of it is generated from the source video in about 10 minutes. I used to think content repurposing was the kind of thing you needed an agency for, and now it's a Claude Code skill that lives on my laptop and takes about 10 minutes instead of 10 days. And the reason this works is because Claude Code can read the actual transcript, the actual product, the actual brand voice, all in the same workflow. It's not just generating it all from scratch, it's editing from your real source material, which is why the output sounds like you, not like every other AI written post on the internet. So that covers the back office, the strategy, and the content. There's just one piece left, and honestly, it's the one that pays for everything else: lead generation. This is the one I'd steal first if I were watching this video, because here's the workflow. There's an API called TheirStack that lets you query open job postings across the entire web. Every day I run a query that says, find me companies that have posted a job in the latest 7 days for head of AI, or a director of AI, or a VP, or a CIO, or a chief AI officer. Filter for the companies between 50 and 2,000 employees, pretty big spread, you can tighten that up if you want to, and in the geographies I care about. And that gives me a list of companies that just told the entire internet they're spending money on AI. Then Claude reads each post and extracts signals. Does the JD mention agents, MCP, payments, API costs, rate limits? Each of those things scores higher because they tell me this company is solving the exact problems that I solve with our products. Then it uses Apollo's MCP server to resolve the right contact at the company. Is it the CTO? Is it a VP of engineering? Is it a founder? Whoever's actually going to be building the thing that they're working on and is a decision maker. And finally, Claude Code drafts a personalized opener that references the actual job description. Something like, saw you're hiring for an AI engineer to build out your agent platform. Here's how I'd approach the orchestration layer. And here's why this works. Cold email reply rates are typically 1 to 2%. This pattern, where the JD itself becomes the personalization, runs 2 or 3 times because the prospect literally just wrote out the pain point you're solving for, and your email is referencing it back to them. They didn't expect to be sold, they expected to be hired. This is the workflow for me that took the most to set up, but it's the one with the highest ROI. Because at the end of it, you've got a daily list of in-market buyers with personalized openers ready to send. So those are the 8 use cases I run my business with every single day, but Claude Code is just one tool. There are a handful of others that I rely on just as heavily, the ones that pair with this stack into an actual operating system for your company. So click this video here because I break down the 6 AI tools that 99% of businesses haven't heard of yet, but absolutely should be using. Tools that pair with Claude Code, tools that handle the parts Claude Code doesn't, and a couple I genuinely think nobody is talking about. If you got value out of this video, that one is the natural step. I'll see you there.